Right, shalom, shalom, Israel, the brother Bakalah Walum, here with another hopeful, edifying video to the body of YAHAWAHSHI. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, YAHAWAHSHI, Bahashem, Rakah Kadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders that I learned this truth from, the men at GMS, and the brethren with a like-minded doctrine. This lesson, what I'm going to bring out is basically, is on Asia, China, about the recent situation they was in, some financial crisis dealing with Evergrande financial institution, housing institution that basically on how China, China, all these nations anyway, are following after the ways of the beast, which is the second beast, which is America, that little horn. So I'm gonna go into the scriptures on what's going on, these different type of plagues and calamities and and um and pestilences that's happening with Asia right now, and a lot of comparisons and make sure that it's clarified that Babylon, that America is Babylon, which the Bible, America is Babylon. So, and then I'm gonna read this out of Second Edras, the 15th chapter, and starting at the 46th verse, and it reads, "And thou, Asia, that are partakers of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person." So I'm gonna get into how is Asia partaking in the hope of Babylon. So it's like it. We got here, this is how Asia, China, is partaking in the hope of Babylon. Because it says here, it says, how many U.S. goods are made in China. It says U.S. goods imports from China total 539.5 billion in 2018, up 6.7% from 2017, and up 59.7% from 2008, and up from 2008 U.S. imports. And up 59.7% from 2008. U.S. imports from are up 427% from 2001. So the percentage is increasing of the goods imported from China. So that's how they partaking in Asia, is partaking in the glory of Babylon. And I want to get down here too. It says, let me, if I'm missing it, it has a category, how many products does Walmart. It was there. Is how many products Walmart imports from Walmart, and it's like, I think it's like 70 some percent. Yes, it got here. It says how much of Walmart's goods are from China. China. It says in America, estimates estimates say that Chinese suppliers make up 70 to 80% of Walmart's merchandise, leaving less than 20% of American-made products. So 70 to 80% of Walmart merchandise Salakia is from Chinese suppliers. So that's how Asia is partaking in the hope of Babylon. And and the second part here, and it says and the glory of her person. So I was Asia, the glory of the person of Babylon. So the glory means we're gonna get into the definition what glory is. By definition, definition of glory.
Glory.
It says high renown or honor won by notable achievements, prestige, fame, renown. So that's what glory is, and how is Asia is the part is the glory of the person of a person. Person means like representation, you know. Art, the glory of a person. So the splendor or the representation of how Asia is gloried as gloried as Babylon the Great, which is America. So I was we gonna get into I was Asia, where it says again, I'm gonna read it again, Salakia. It says, and thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person. So how is Asia the glory of the person of Babylon, which person means representation. So so we gonna get into how is Asia the glory of a person. I got a video here that I'm gonna show. It's basically a skyscraper video.
Do you know the best place in your house to potentially save money? Not the garage, not the kitchen, but here, the roof. Skyscraper and has for a long.
So this video here basically goes into the U.S. versus China skyscrapers. So I'm gonna play a little bit of it, and just to get the point.
Time been the world's pioneer in building super tall buildings, but China is rushing to claim the throne. In this video, we are comparing the world's tallest skyscrapers in the United States and China. We travel to Shanghai, where the Chinese government has recently completed a triad of super talls, breaking the record for the nation's tallest skyscraper. And we discover how these mega projects measure up to the proud legacy of the American skyscrapers. Before we continue,
see, it says it's gonna measure up to the legacy China, how the legacy of the America's skyscrapers. So legacy means it's a tradition. That's what legacy means. So basically, I'm gonna get that, rewind that.
for the nation's tallest skyscraper, and we discover how these mega projects measure up to the proud legacy of the American skyscrapers.
See that they said they're gonna measure up how China's skyscrapers measure up to United States or America's legacy in skyscrapers. And legacy means just a tradition. And I'm gonna skip to the end to let you know that that U.S. Basically are the founders of these skyscrapers.
Shanghai Tower. To find the tallest building in China and the last building in today's video, we have to go back to Shanghai. Towering above the iconic skyline is the Shanghai Tower. The Shanghai Tower is the second tallest building in the world. It reaches a height of 632 meters, or 2,074 feet, twice the size of the Eiffel Tower, and 200 meters taller than the Empire State Building. This building is the undefeated champion of Chinese engineering. The building reached the news in Western countries when in 2015, two urban explorers, Vadim Makarov and Vitaly Raskolov, managed to bypass security and climb to the top of the building. They filmed their adventure and celebrated the Chinese New Year inside a crane at the top of the building. The video went viral on YouTube and became one of the duo's most watched videos of all time. The Shanghai Tower is part of a mega project by the Chinese government, just like the World Financial Center. Perhaps the most remarkable thing about this tower is its unique design. The structure is made up of several cylindrical buildings that are stacked atop each other. These are enclosed by a glass facade which twists and rises to hundreds of meters above the ground. There are, in total, 97 elevators that service the building, which travel with speeds up to 76 kilometers per hour, or 47 miles per hour. The interior design is just as spectacular as the exterior. Each of the divisions has an atrium, many featuring gardens, restaurants, and retail spaces. Here, you can enjoy the most spectacular panoramic views of the city. The whole building can accommodate 16,000 people every day. The Chinese economy is growing fast, and many people are moving to the cities. There is an enormous demand for living and working space. 5 out of the 10 world's tallest buildings are currently in China, where the United States only adds one name to the list. The United States invented the skyscraper, and now has inspired the rest of the world to catch up.
You see, it says the United States, created the skyscraper. So I want to get that also out of Revelations chapter 18, starting at verse 3. It says, Revelations 18, chapter 18, verse 3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So, these other nations are following behind the policies which that wine is, the philosophies and policies and ways of Babylon the Great, which is America, and all the kings and all the nations of the earth follow behind Babylon, which is America, aka America. So that whore that sits on the beast, you know, like it says in 2. We don't have to get into that, but yeah, like it says, all the nations have drunk of the wrath of fornication, and they wax rich. You see, like they was on the merchandise, it climbed. The imports from China climbed throughout the year. Throughout the years, they've been importing more goods and products and suppliers from China. Getting back in Second Edras chapter 15 in the 46th chapter, it says, "And thou Asia, thou art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of a person." See, we got into the partaker part of the hope of the hope is being a supplier in this merchandise. Being a merchant. All the goods are imported. A lot of goods are imported from China, and the glory of a person being like a representation or image, a mirror image. A lot of also these businessmen from China, they dress up like like the businessmen, the Edomites here, they have suits and ties and things like that when they take on the customs of Babylon the Great, which is ran by Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. And it says, woe to thee, Salakia, woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. So that woe is happening. I'm gonna get into that too. I got a couple videos that's gonna get into that. It says, woe be, so I get woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore, saith Yahawah, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. That's what I'm about to get into. So that's like that crisis that was recently happened, that Evergrande financial crisis. I'm gonna get into a couple videos that show the pestilences and the and the woe that's happening over there in Asia. Just bear with me. Israel, I'll be right back.
Business tonight, investors have heaved a sigh of relief over news that China's property giant Evergrande Group has agreed on a plan to repay interest on one of its key bonds. In doing so, the debt-laden company has, for now, avoided a default, which many had feared would derail the world's second-largest economy and spark a financial crisis. But what lies ahead? Olivia Seong reports.
All eyes have been on Evergrande Group's interest payments due Thursday, seen as an indicator of the true extent of the Chinese developers' money woes. On Wednesday, Hengda Real Estate Group announced it would make the coupon payment on its Shenzhen-traded bond on time. This estimated at about $36 million. While there has been no word on whether the $83.5 million in interest for an offshore bond will be paid out, this has brought some reassurance to nervous investors and global markets. The developer had already missed interest payments due earlier this week to two of its largest bank creditors. Now, the Evergrande Group is China's second largest property developer with a presence in more than 280 cities, like here in the north in Beijing, while it's headquartered in the south in Shenzhen. The group employs 200,000 people and claims to indirectly generate 3.8 million Chinese jobs. According to the company's report, its total assets are the equivalent of around 2.2% of China's GDP. There have been protests seen by investors and suppliers demanding payment, as the group has said it's facing unprecedented challenges, with debt amounting to over $300 billion.
The Evergrande Group has gross debt of something like $300 billion. So that's an enormous amount. If it collapses, certainly it will have a major shockwave in the financial sector in China. Luckily, most of the debt of the Evergrande Group are held by Chinese nationals, so very few by overseas foreign entities. So the shockwave will be mostly felt in China. But still, because of this enormous amount, people fear that any shockwave in the financial sector in China could affect global financial markets.
So he said any financial shockwave felt in China can be felt globally, basically. So this is like the world is being judged by YAHAWAHSHI. This is just not just Asia. You can see all these calamities I'm about to get into all over the globe. Also here in Babylon the Great. But I'm gonna jump to the end of the video real quick.
Now, Evergrande's temporary reassurance over its domestic bond has injected some calm into the markets. The Shanghai Composite managed to pull ahead by 0.4% today. The China Central Bank pumped an additional $19 billion into the banking system.
See what it did. What it did there. The Chinese bank basically did what? It's the same thing America doing. It's just printing money. It said the bank just pumped $19 billion in the economy. I think that's what she said. I gotta rewind it. So basically, that's going to lead to what? Inflation. So basically, they copying the same tactics that's being done over here in America. You know, that wine, they're being drunk off the fornication, of the wrath of her fornication, drunk off the wine. You know, drunk off that wine, that Babylon juice. So I'm gonna wind it back.
The Shanghai Composite managed to pull ahead by 0.4% today. The China Central Bank pumped an additional $19 billion into the banking system. And
Yeah, so that the Chinese central bank just pumped in $19 billion into the economy. You know, basically doing the same, this which is going to cause inflation, which is the same thing as being done here in Babylon the Great, aka America.
say another move by the PBOC to soothe worries about possible contagion across the economy. With markets in Hong Kong closed for a holiday today, no chance for Evergrande investors to respond to today's news. Remember, Evergrande's shares listed there fell by 0.4% yesterday, and they are down by about 84% since the start of the year. But those keen to buy into Evergrande are looking at Frankfurt, where its shares are jumping. Now it's up by more than 30%. Key European indices are also pushing ahead, even as investors await a decision by the U.S. Fed on monetary policy later today. In business tonight,
Salakia. See, it says it's waiting on. I gotta get that back. It says waiting on the U.S., the United States federal government for something. I gotta rewind that. I didn't catch that.
Are looking at Frankfurt, where its shares are jumping. Now it's up by more than 30%. Key European indices are also pushing ahead, even as investors await a decision by the U.S. Fed on monetary policy later today. Business to
Salakia. See, that's what they doing. What they waiting on policies of the U.S. government, man. You said they waiting on some policies, um, from the U.S. government, man, dealing with this situation. So what they doing? That's that wine, that Babylon, that they drunk off that wine of Babylon, man. So that's the philosophies, the policies, you know, that they drunk off that wine. So I got some more videos that I want to show.
On the night of September 16, a powerful earthquake with a magnitude of 6.0 occurred in China. The epicenter of the tremors was Luxian County, Luzhu City, Sichuan Province. As a result of the accident, many people were injured. The infrastructure of the city was badly damaged. According to the local government, more than 10,000 people were evacuated and settled in temporary shelters. 5.8 magnitude earthquake jolted northwest China's Qinghai province on Friday, according to China Earthquake Network Center, CENC. The epicenter was monitored at 34.58 degrees north latitude and 97.54 degrees east longitude. The quake struck Maduo County of Golog Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture in the province at 12:21 p.m., with a depth of 8 kilometers, said CENC. No casualties have been reported so far.
Stay with that story. It comes after 12 people were killed in a submerged subway in flood-affected central China. More than 30 people are known to have been killed in Henan province since the provincial capital Zhengzhou and other cities became overwhelmed by those storm floodwaters. Rescue efforts are still carried out. Heavy rain is continuing for a 6th day. Just looking at these pictures, you can see roads and buildings remain waterlogged. Still many cars, dozens of cars, hundreds of cars piled on top of each other. Nearly 400,000 people have already evacuated their homes. Well, our China correspondent Robin Brandt sent this update from Zhengzhou in Henan province, one of the most populous provinces in China with 94 million people.
A few people that were up and about at 5 a.m. said that everything was normal, but then suddenly within the space of a few minutes the water started turning darker and eventually was completely red. The really weird thing is that we have always been able to catch fish, and you can even drink the water because it's just normally so good. Nobody has any idea how it could have ended up being polluted because there are no factories that dump anything in the water here. The main river in the city of Dayong in Sichuan province has turned blood red since Sunday, according to reports from China in Focus, and it has a lot of people concerned. Dayong is a city of more than 4 million people in Sichuan province, and locals are very worried that their river has mysteriously turned blood red. A bloody river might not be as worrying if it were simply a river turning red, as if that were not enough, but this suspicious...
So yeah, that's the plagues of Asia. Asia's being plagued. Getting back to the chapter, to the scriptures. It also says that president, what's his name, Xi Jinping, if I'm pronouncing it right, whatever his name is, he had put a policy together that's called Operation Empty Plate. You know, it says in that video that people can be fined for overeating or or all businesses excessive waste or something of the sort. They could be fined under this policy called Operation Empty Plate. So yeah, they stopping excessive eating. They said they putting up, basically it's a famine. It's a food shortage, which is a famine, which that's what it says in Second Edras, the 15th chapter, in the 49th verse, and it says, "I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and the pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death." You see, people were flooded. That's not like the only occasion. Like China has been plagued with earthquakes, floods, and tsunamis, and things like that for some time now, a couple of weeks or so, or if not a few months. They've been plagued after plague after plague. If it's not a hurricane, it's like a earthquake. It's like a flood, or it's like some type of tsunami, or some other natural, so-called natural disaster. So they've been plagued over there badly in Asia. And it says, "And thy glory of thy power shall be dried up as the flower. The heat shall arise that is sent over thee. thou shalt be weakened as a poor woman with stripes, and as one chastised with wounds, so that the mighty and the lovers shall not be able to receive thee. So that's how the whoredom of these other nations, they're not gonna China's not gonna be able to be helped, Nobody's gonna be able to give aid through the plagues that YAHAWAHSHI is sending upon Asia, China. So that's what's going on. I just want to point that out because of that Salakia, that evergrande situation, that financial crisis. Even they're waiting on the decision, even though they said they paid that they put something on, they had made some type of payment towards the past payment or whatever, the overdue payment. But nonetheless, you know, it still can be an effect, it can be a global effect. And plus, they had to pump like 9 million. The government, Chinese government, pumped like 19 billion dollars in the economy. Just to boost the economy. Which what is that? Printing money just inflate inflation, man. Like the same thing Babylon the Great, same thing is being done over here, Babylon the Great. So that basically explains this is this is Babylon the Great. Is more proof that America is also Babylon the Great that the Bible speaks of. So I hope this lesson wasn't too long, and I hope it was edifying to the body. YAHAWAHSHI. And I want to say, call Holayim La Yahawah Ba'ashem YAHAWAHSHI Ba'ashem Rakakadash. And Shalom to the next time, Yahawah Ratazah, which means Slakia, which means Lord willing, and Wa Abba Babo.